Hey guys, get ready with me while I tell you a friendship horror story. I've done boy horror stories before and you guys really like them, so I came up with the idea. I was like, oh, let me do a friendship one. One word thing I already have to say, just to get it started. Trio. Right, as we know, I feel like it is an unspoken rule. Everyone knows trios never work. When have they ever? Like, there's just always a duo in a trio. It's just how it works in most cases. I'm not saying that that's everyone's, problem or whatever, but I'd say for the majority of us, that happens. And it turns out I was the one left out. Thing is though, I know this sounds weird, but I was genuinely cool with that. Like, I was so fine because I went to this school later than everyone else. So everyone had already made their friendships and stuff. And these two girls were already in a friendship before I was. So I was honestly fine with that. It wasn't like I expected anything more, but I just thought, it wouldn't be so apparent that there was like a 2 and a 3, if that makes sense. This was very new for me too because I had just come from my previous school where I was in a friendship group, not even over exaggerating, of maybe like 20 odd people. Like the amount of us that would sit out on that playground floor, like it was just a lot different to having such a smaller group. So in the beginning, everything's going fine. And there was actually one girl in this group, we're going to call her Emma. She actually started getting, I would say, closer to me than she was with the other girl. We're going to call her Daisy. Obviously Emma and Daisy were close at the beginning, like kind of the two of them. And then, like I said, Emma started getting quite a lot closer to me and Daisy didn't like this, which is fair enough. Like, I'm not expecting her to have liked it, but I would still say it wasn't like very obvious. It was just maybe that outside of school, me and Emma started to see each other more. Like there was this one time where we went out for food and things like that. So, thing is, I think Emma did genuinely like me, but Daisy never liked me. It started to become quite obvious too because Daisy stopped commenting on all of my posts. She wouldn't talk to me outside of school, even in school, barely spoke to me. So I was kind of aware that maybe she didn't like me so much, but I just sort of brushed it off under the carpet. So we continued hanging out together as a 3 in school and it was fine for the most part of it. It was pretty chill and everything kind of had like a little calm down period. Then out of nowhere, and I do think to this day maybe they had a conversation because it was just really random, out of the blue, Emma barely started talking to me at all for some reason. Like, we've just got used to going out together all the time and stuff. This just stopped all of a sudden. And then like the little common things started happening that sort of happen in a friendship group of 3 where one is left out. And it was just little things, but it all adds up. Like, for example, if we was in a queue for something, they would always push me to the back. If we was like walking outside or on the pavement or something, they'd be walking on the pavement and then either I'd be behind or in the road. Just little things like that. So it's kind of obvious now that it was like the 2 of them and then I was just there. But then, like I said, these things, I didn't really expect anything different. I came into their friendship at the end of the day, so I wasn't expecting anything less, if that makes sense. Then they started to take the piss a little bit. Like, it started then, the dirty looks were coming in. Or, like, they would have a conversation, or they'd be in a conversation while I'm there, and I'd add to the conversation, and I would just get, like, a look like, it was like, we're all talking together. You know what I mean? It was just little things like that that then started to happen, and I didn't say anything because I used to be a big, fat mug. This is why, for some reason, I'm actually really glad I got bullied, because now I actually stand up for myself. Bear in mind, this is like in year 8. If you haven't been able to tell, year 8 was a horror year for me. Like, everything went wrong. So, then, this is when the friendship took a turn. So there was this one day, we had this little routine, right? And we would meet up at this shop that was like at the bottom of the road, like that we went up to the school basically. And we'd meet there every morning and then we would walk up into school together. Got my Charlotte Tilbury Flawless filter. But yeah, anyway, we had this little routine where we would go up into school together. Like, we'd meet up at the shops at the bottom of the road and then walk up to school. And this one day was planning to do that as per usual. And I didn't live far from the school either. Like, it was literally up the hill for me and that was it. Up the hill and then there would be the shop at the bottom and then you're literally talking 30 seconds up the road was the school. So I had, done my usual, got up the hill and was waiting at the shops. And I didn't text them or anything at first because this was just the thing that we did. Do you know what I mean? It was like an unspoken rule. We didn't need to text each other about it or whatever. Then I can't remember what time we used to go into school, like, let's just say 8:30, right? It got to, like, 8:05, and they'd usually be there by now, because we would usually hang around, like, by the shops for a little bit first before we went in, and they're not there. So I remember I texted them, and I didn't get any response. Then I texted them again, maybe, like, 10 minutes later, and was like, oh, you guys coming? Because you've got to think, like, when you're waiting to go into school, an extra, like, 10 minutes is quite a long time, and it's getting closer to when we're going to go into school, right? Then you're talking, it got to, like, 8:20, so, like, we've got 10 minutes till we're meant to go into school, and, like, I was still in this stage where, like, I didn't want them to, like, dislike me or anything, so I thought, I'm not going to message them again. I'm sure they're on their way, maybe they're just running a little bit late, it's fine. Then we're talking, it is, like, it must have been, like, 8:25, or even maybe a couple minutes until we're meant to be into school, and we still got to walk up there, and the school was big, like, walk around the whole school and things like that. So, yeah, now we're talking, it's literally, like, minutes until we've got to go in, and I had messaged them, like, I think maybe 5 minutes before that, and there was no response. So, obviously, I'm confused. I'm like, I thought I was meant to be, like, meeting up with them. So, I remember I called one of them, and they didn't answer. So, I thought, oh, maybe, like, her phone's on silent or whatever. So, I called my other friend, who was, I think, who was it that I called? I think it was Daisy, the one that didn't like me. Yeah, anyway, ring her up, and then I'm like, oh, hello, where are you guys? Then, literally, it was dead silence for, like, 3 seconds on the phone. I was like, hello? Then they just scream down the phone, like, both in sync. So it was so cringe, because they clearly thought of, like, this before. They probably, like, had this idea when they picked up the phone. Then, in sync, they both go, we're not fucking meeting you. I was like, what? I was like, okay. So, I'm so confused at this point, right? I was thinking, like, what? Like, why have I rung you up and you're, like, screaming at me down the phone, swearing at me? I was like, what the hell? So anyway, I go in, and I'm just like, I'm just going to play it off normal. Also, I forgot to add as well, when they, like, put down the phone after saying that, you could hear them laughing in the background. So they clearly, like, planned to say that, oh, like, let's ring her up, and then both shout at the same time. I'm not fucking meeting you. So it was very premeditated. So I've just been sat in lessons thinking about it all day, because I didn't share any of, like, the same lessons with them girls, so I didn't see them. Obviously, I'd made myself late as well, because I was waiting for them, and then by the time I walked up on my own, I was in school maybe like 5-10 minutes late. And also, one of them was in my form, but she didn't show up, so I don't know where they were. But yeah, I've been thinking about it all day, and I thought, you know what, it got to break. I can't remember if it was break or lunch, but irrelevant information. I got to, like, break, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to play it off normally. Like, I'm just going to, you know what I mean, I'm not going to have an argument with them or anything. I'm not going to act like anything's up. Like, I'm just going to, you know, act normal. Then this is when it just got so strange. No, guys, you've got to seriously deep this. They just acted normal with me. It wasn't addressed. It wasn't spoken about. I think we were both in shock, because I'm still in shock over the fact that they had said that to me. Bear in mind, this was, like, so out of the blue. Like, it was just so random. And I think they were in shock that I still turned up to lunch with them, like, to hang around with them, because they probably thought in their head, oh, like, we've got rid of her now, because they clearly wanted to get rid of me, which, fair enough, if that's how you feel, alright. But there's, like, oh, why is my bird, like, screaming and shouting? But it was just so strange. Like, it was just never ever spoken about. It still never has been spoken about to this day. Not that I'm friends with them anymore, I haven't spoken to them in years, but yeah, I mean, they got what they wanted in the end, because I did move friendship groups, just because although they were acting normal with me, it wasn't normal at the same time, because it's like, I know that you've just told me to F off. You also know that. You wanted to tell me that for a long time, clearly, but we're not addressing it. There's no argument. There's no, like, anything being resolved. It was just so weird. But yeah, it was just genuinely... Oh, wait, I can't do lipstick at the same time. It was just honestly the weirdest situation ever. Like, I've never been in a situation like that before. Yeah, still no explanation to this day, but let me finish this look off. Do let me know if you guys want to see any more of these in the future. My hair has come out awful, but I'm literally going to the nail salon, so it's fine. Bye guys, love you!
Storytime! Znači ljudi, danas je Halloween i zbog toga moramo raditi jedan spooky scary storytime. Ovo je priča koju sam našla na internetu zašto se nikad ne smijete igrati sa Ouija boardom. Ako niste znali, Ouija board izgleda ovako. Ovu priču je na internetu ispričao jedan dečko. Momak, mladić. Dakle, kaže on da su oni njegovi prijatelji dosta često se malo poigravali. Poigravali su se oni s tim Ouija boardom. I obično su se pravili, kao jedni druge su prenkali da se stvarno nešto događalo, zapravo se nikad ništa stvarno nije desilo. Nego bi na kraju netko od ekipe rekao, ja sam, i onda bi se svi smijali. I sad, ovo je bio jedan vikend gdje su oni svi bili zajedno, njih 7 na vikendici od jedne od tih osoba, prijatelja. I oni tamo izvuku Ouija board i idu oni kao hi nešto se malo igrati s tim. Kaže da je vibra bila čudna od početka. Kao osjećala se neka čudna atmosfera. I sad oni pitaju pitanja Ouija board, neka pitanja koja kao ne znaju svi iz grupe da bi mogli pravilno micat slova. I čak ne pitanja za koje oni nisu znali odgovor, Ouija board je odgovorila, oni su googlali odgovore i bili su točni. Vrlo, vrlo sumnjivo. I tako oni svi se malo uplaši i počnu se ispitivati međusobno, jesi ti, buraz, reci, priznaj. Međutim, nitko to nije bio. Ouija board se općenito koristi za komuniciranje sa duhovima ljudi koji su... I oni su pitali tog duha kao, tko si ti? Jer su se već lagano zabrinuli, uživjeli itd. Veli on njima, ja sam dječak od 10 godina koji je umro u ovoj kući. Kao što rekoh, bili su negdje totalno van grada na vikendici od jedne od osoba koja je tamo. Oko njih je samo selo, šume i dječak kaže da ga neko ubio i da je pokopan u vrtu u neoznačenom grobu. I oni kažu, dokaži nam da je ovo istina. I Ouija board spela Kucam. I svi utihnu, svi ušute, svi se gledaju, ništa minutu se ne događa. I odjedanput čuju netko kuca na prozoru. Svi su oni bili na okupu, tako da su znali da nije nitko od njih. I vani je bilo uspaljeno svjetlo, nisu vidjeli apsolutno nikog. Kaže da više nikad nisu dotaknuli Ouija board u svom životu, ali te duhove jednom kad pustiš van, nema nazad. Tako da se ekipa svakako klonite toga. Sretan Halloween!
Gonna want to listen to this story, but trigger warning, I advise do not watch this in the dark or at night or sitting alone in your bed because it will freak the shit out of you. This man goes to sleep with his wife and they're sleeping in bed, and around 3 o'clock in the morning he was woken up to this noise, and it sounded like the front door, like somebody was trying to like scruff or trying to get in through the front door. It has one of these front doors, when the door shuts, it automatically locks and you have to have the keys to get back in the house. I actually have a front door just like this. So the first thing he does, he gets his phone and he opens the Ring doorbell app. And when he's looking at the camera in the app, he sees his wife is outside and at this point it was 3 o'clock in the morning, it was freezing cold, and she was standing there shivering, trying to get in the house. But his wife is laying next to him. So he turns over to this person who is laying in bed with him and he shines a torch on her. And it is his wife. His wife is actually there and she's sleeping. She's fast asleep and she's fine. He checks the Ring doorbell app again and he's so confused because this woman looks just like his wife, but it's not his wife because his wife is laying next to him in bed. First he approached the front door, and at this point he's thinking maybe it's a burglar or maybe it's somebody pretending to be his wife to trick him so they can get in the house. He does not open the door, but he shouts out, "Who is it? Who's there?" And this woman replied, "It's me. I've left my keys in my bag and I can't get in. It's freezing. Can you please open the door and let me in?" He froze because this woman sounded just like his wife. The exact same accent, same annotation. This woman literally was a photocopy of his wife. He replies, "Hold on a minute," and dashes back to his bedroom. To his wife? He shakes his wife awake, and of course when she wakes up she's really groggy, she's really tired, and he's like, "You need to see this." Shows her the Ring doorbell and this woman standing out there, and she's like, "Oh, when was this recorded?" He's like, "No, this video is a live video. This is happening right now." Explaining to her, he just spoke to this woman who looks and sounds exactly like her, his wife, and she said to him that she wants to come inside and she's freezing and that she just forgot her keys in her bag. So she ends up going downstairs. She's tired, she's pissed, she does not believe him. She opens the curtains and immediately shuts them as fast as she could because she's like, "What the hell? That is me." Both look at each other and they decide to speak to this woman outside. So the husband calls out, "What's your name?" And this woman outside replied with his wife's full name, including her middle name. He then asks, "What's your birthday?" And she gets it correct. He then even asked, "What do we have for dinner tonight?" And she replied what they had for dinner, plus saying that he cooked it. which was true. So the wife inside the house at this point is trying to control herself. She is freaking out, and the husband reaches over to her and says, ask it something only you would know. She's there thinking, what can I ask her? What can I ask her on the spot? Something that only she supposedly would know. Ask this woman outside, the last time you went to your parents' house, what was the thing they changed about your bedroom? There was a long pause, and the wife outside then goes, who is that? Is there someone else with you? Who's that there speaking? She goes, you're starting to freak me out. What is going on? Why are you not letting me inside? At this point, the fake wife outside realizes she's actually speaking to the real wife inside. The husband and wife at this point are just like, answer the question, answer the damn question. And after another long pause, she answers the question, and correctly. The wife inside is absolutely terrified because only she is supposed to know about this. So she grabs her husband's hand and they run upstairs to go back to their bedroom, and they lock themselves in the bedroom. They pull out the Ring doorbell app and they watch this woman outside that looks just like the wife walk off in the backyard. And they presume she's off to find the spare key. They're truly convinced at this point, if this woman knows all these personal questions about them, she will know where the spare key is. That's the story. It is terrifying, and it's so terrifying because I have a feeling that this was a jinn pretending to be the wife, but this jinn must have been watching them and must have been hanging around them for a long time, which is just terrifying to think. It is so scary. But let me know what you think about this story. Let me know what you think happened. If you think it must have been just a stranger that was pretending to be the wife trying to get in, or if you think it was some sort of paranormal activity.
Επειδή μου το ζητήσατε πάρα πολύ, άλλο ένα creepy story time που αυτή τη φορά συνέβη στην Ελλάδα. Που λέτε, όταν ήμουν μικρή και ζούσα στην Αθήνα, στο δωμάτιο που κοιμόμουν, είχα 2 σειρώμενες πόρτες με τζάμι. Ένα βράδυ, πρέπει να ήταν άνοιξη καλοκαίρι, θυμάμαι ότι είχα μόνο ένα σεντόνι, βλέπω στο τζάμι μια μορφή, ανθρώπινη. Αυτή η σκιά, θα την περιέγραφα ως σκιά, φαινόταν στο τζάμι, σε αυτό το γυάλινο τζάμι. Στα μάτια μου ήταν άντρας με ένα καπέλο. Το καπέλο τι φάση δεν ξέρω. Ωστόσο δεν κουνιόταν, απλά υπήρχε εκεί πέρα σαν σκιά. Και καθώς προσπαθούσα να καταλάβω τι ακριβώς είναι, και σαν να μην έφτανε ο καουμπόης, ξαφνικά άρχισα να ακούω και ήχους. Σαν κάποιος να γρατσουνάει κάτι, σαν κάποιος να ξεφυλίζει ένα βιβλίο. Να σας πω ότι τότε ήμουν και μικρό παιδί, πήγαινα τύπου δημοτικό, 5η δημοτικού νομίζω. Και εννοείται ότι δεν μπορούσα να κοιμηθώ γιατί είχα παραλύσει από το φόβο. Αυτό το πράγμα συνέχισα να το βλέπω για ένα μεγάλο χρονικό διάστημα. Δηλαδή, μπορεί να το βλέπα για 4 μήνες, συνεχόμενα κάθε βράδυ. Αλλά τους ήχους δεν τους ακούγα κάθε βράδυ. Κάποια στιγμή το συζήτησα με διάφορους και μου λέγανε ότι δεν είναι κάτι και αυτά τα κλασικά που λένε στα παιδιά για να τη ηρεμήσουν. Αλλά εγώ το έβλεπα αυτό το πράγμα. Ήρθε το καλοκαίρι και πήγα στο χωριό να δω τη γιαγιά μου. Και της το είπα. Και μου είπε ότι από το φόβο μας μερικές φορές ή όταν έχουμε ακούσει πράγματα έτσι, ιστορίες κτλ., με το μυαλό μας φανταζόμαστε πράγματα. Και ότι αυτά στην πραγματικότητα δεν ισχύουν, και απλά ότι το μυαλό μας τα δημιουργεί. Τόσο απλά. Και γυρίζω το Σεπτέμβριο στην Αθήνα. Και μαντέψτε. Σταμάτησα να το βλέπω. Μπορεί να παίζει και ρόλο το γεγονός ότι είχα δει ένα θρίλερ στο Star, κρυφά. Από αυτά που έπαιζε Κυριακή βράδυ και οι γονείς σου λέγανε να πας για ύπνο γιατί αύριο σχολείο. Νομίζω λεγόταν η 6η αίσθηση, δεν είμαι πολύ σίγουρη. Το ήταν το creepy storytime. Δεν ξέρω αν ήταν creepy. Πάντως εγώ τότε είχα τρομάξει. Να σας προσέχετε και να θυμάστε ότι το μυαλό παίζει διάφορα παιχνίδια. Bye!
Can we show them the older home set?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Can you do Sarasarita? Yes, Sarasarita is a creepy game from Mexico where you're supposed to summon the spirits of 2 girls who were murdered. And then you ask them yes or no questions. If you're looking for a spooky sleepover game, this one's for you, but like always, play at your own risk. All you need are 2 coins of the same value. You can play alone, but honestly, it's way creepier if you play with a friend. Here's how it works. The 2 of you sit across from each other, each holding a coin. Then say, Sarasarita, can we enter your game and toss the coins over your shoulders. If both coins land on heads, that's a yes. If both land on tails, it's a no. If you get one of each, it's a maybe. If you get a no or a maybe, do not proceed. If you get a yes, you can start asking Sarah Sarita yes or no questions by tossing the coin to get an answer. But here is the scary part. When you're done, you can't just walk away. You have to say, Sara Sarita, can we leave your game, and toss the coins again. And you can't leave until both coins land on heads. If they don't, keep tossing them until they do. People say if you don't close the game properly, bad things will happen. There's even a legend that some kids in Mexico were sent to mental hospitals after failing to end the game. Let me know if you guys have ever played this game or are thinking about trying it. This is my first time hearing about it, so I want to know if it actually works. This disturbing chainmail haunted inboxes for years. Back in the early 2000s, countless people received a chilling message from a girl named Carmen Winstead. The message warned, if you don't share this with 15 people within 5 minutes, you will suffer the same fate I did. But who was Carmen Winstead? She was a 17-year-old girl who relocated to Indiana because of her dad's new job. Starting over wasn't easy for her. She missed her old friends and struggled to fit in until she became friends with this group of 5 girls. At first, everything seemed to be okay until Carmen learned that these girls were actually talking about her behind her back. They were saying disgusting things like Carmen was having an affair with the janitor, or that she would rub her snot on people when they weren't looking. Heartbroken and humiliated, she confronted them, but instead of stopping, those girls still mocked her. They called her names and they embarrassed her in front of the whole school. That day, Carmen decided that she was going to report them to a teacher, but she never got a chance. There was a fire drill after lunch. While the students were standing in the parking lot waiting, Carmen stood next to an open sewer. That's when the 5 girls spotted her. Laughing, they pushed her in just to embarrass her, but it wasn't just a prank. Carmen fell hard. Her body landed twisted at the bottom, her neck was broken, and her face was scraped off. When the teacher called her name, one girl giggled and said, "She's in the sewer." The teacher looked and saw Carmen's broken body, standing unnaturally still. Her face had been completely torn off. The teacher called the police. They interrogated the students, but the girls claimed that Carmen fell on her own. Therefore, the police ruled her death as an accident. But a few months later, strange posts started appearing on MySpace, claiming that her death was no accident. No one knew who wrote them. Then the girls started dying one by one. They all refused to take accountability for their disgusting actions. That's when the chainmail started to spread like crazy. It warned that if you ignored it, Carmen would come for you through a toilet, a sink, a shower drain, even in your sleep. And when she finds you, she will drag you in the drain and tear off your face to match hers. But if you obey and share her story, she might just protect you for the rest of your life.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life, and I wasn't even planning on making a video today, but I feel like I need to get out of my system because I have been welling up with tears and having full body chills from being scared. If you know me in real life, that never happens to me, so I feel like I just need to get out of my system. So this is that story. This happened 4 years ago. I was a freshman in college and I was talking to this boy at the time, and he caught me when I was coming home for the weekend from college, and he asked if he could take me stargazing. I say yes. He picks me up. It's maybe 11, 12 o'clock at night. He drives me to the state park specifically because I had never been before. And specific to note about this state park next to my hometown, it isn't, when I say in the middle of nowhere, I legitimately mean in the middle of nowhere. The closest gas station is like multiple miles away. Nobody lives near there. Yeah, you get the gist. So we get there. He originally parks in front of this watchtower. We're walking up the watchtower. Something to note about me. You're gonna learn about 2 of my fears today. I am afraid of heights. The tower starts shaking from the small amount of wind, and I immediately am like, hey, I don't like this. We're about halfway up. I don't like this, let's go down. So he's like, okay, I actually thought you might be scared, so I have an alternate way for us to go look at the stars, but we have to walk through the woods. Usually, and before I get any comments about that, I know, okay? I know. The only reason why I went is because he was like, it's like a minute and a half through the woods. Perfect, a minute and a half, no worries. I shouldn't have listened to him because it was a 10-minute walk, if not more. It is so dark in those effing woods that you cannot even see your hand in front of your face. I'm walking through the woods, I'm doing fine. My other fear is the dark. Okay, I'm a full-grown woman. I am exponentially scared of the dark. Like, unrealistically scared of the dark. We're walking, we hit a fence. And not just any fence, a barbed wire fence. By this time, my eyes are fully adjusted in the dark. And out in the distance, I can see a barn. Right next to the barn, I see a big silo. And if you don't know what a silo is, it's just this big metal structure that holds corn where I'm from. A lot of farmers have them. And I immediately ask him, is this someone's land? He doesn't really answer me, and I'm like, no, seriously, is this someone's land? Because I'm not going to get shot tonight. Because where I'm from, they're not going to ask you on their 5 acres of land what you're doing on their land. They're just going to shoot you because they don't know who you are at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Or I guess what you are. So finally he tells me it's someone's land, and I'm like, I'm not trespassing on someone's land. Like, no thanks. 3 strikes and you're out. I've walked through the woods. I have tried to conquer my fear of heights, and I'm walking in the dark. No. This is no. So finally he's like, okay, fine. Like, we'll go back to the car and I'll drive you home. As we're walking, I don't know what it was. The hair on the back of my neck suddenly stood up. I start to feel like someone is watching me. And all my girlies with anxiety like me, you know what I'm talking about. But this was different. This was different. This was like burning 2 holes in the back of my head because they're staring so hard. And it was so bad that I kept turning around and there was literally no one there. My eyes are fully adjusted at this point. There is no one there that I can see. And I start walking so close to this dude that I'm flat tiring his shoes, which means I'm like stepping on the back of his shoes every couple of steps, and he's getting super mad at me. But eventually I just grab his arm and I say, there is something out here with us. And I made sure to whisper it because at the end of the day, if there is a living human being out there, I don't want them knowing that I feel like something is wrong. And number 2, it was really quiet out there, like deafeningly silent. And he immediately tells me like, Elena, it's okay. Like, your anxiety, it's okay. I understand that you're scared of the dark, but everything's gonna be fine. Like, there's no one else out here. There's no other cars. Everything's gonna be fine. We take probably 3 steps and start to hear rustling. And immediately, this is when my breath literally is taken away. Like, I'm like, I can't breathe. And again, he's like rubbing my back and he's like, it's okay. Like, there is seriously no one else out here. You're gonna be fine. We're walking for maybe a minute. We have our flashlights out. From our right, a rock doesn't tumble out. It is thrown out into the middle of the path that we're walking. I mean, like, right in front of us. Like, someone threw it. This was a game time decision, right? Right. I left him in the woods. I ran so fast, I left him in the woods. I have never ran faster in my entire life. And all my running girlies, I ran for a minute. Sprinted for a minute. I get to his car and I'm trying the door handles and I immediately am going through all these scenarios. I'm like, what am I going to do if if there is a person in the woods? So I'm trying the door handles. I'm going to like literally every door and all of them are locked. And all of a sudden I hear him giggling and like jogging out of the forest. And he was like, that rabbit really scared me. A rabbit? And I probably look disgusting at this point, but I legitimately lost my mind on him. I was like, since when do rabbits pick up rocks and throw them at people? Since when has that ever happened? But anyways, we get in the car, we drive off. The whole time I'm asking him, what do you think that was? What do you think that was? Do you think that was a real person? Do you think that was a ghost? What was that? And I don't think he took me very seriously at the time because he was like, whatever. Needless to say, I never talked to him ever again. And now I will elaborate on why it's so scary to me. I don't think that was paranormal by any means. Because when you experience something paranormal, it's almost like an instantaneous thought, right? You're trying to rationalize. You're trying to go through the scenarios in your head on how it is possible that that happened. This was different. I have never felt so fearful in my entire life. And let me ask you this. When you get home late at night, maybe after a night out, or when you get home from work, school, etc., what do you think you're going to see when you turn the light on in your room? Probably some decor, probably your bed, your desk, maybe a pet lives there, I don't know. But you anticipate on what you're going to see because you're prepared for what you're going to see. I'm not comparing bedrooms in the woods, but I was not anticipating someone else to be out there because there's no cars out there. There was no way for someone to get out there if they didn't get there before the sun went down, if you catch my drift. And I think there's something, at the end of the day, there is something so deeply frightening about knowing someone was watching you the whole time. And there is something equally as frightening knowing you never saw them. And then you have to think about a plethora of things. Like, why was that person following two teenagers in the woods without making their presence known? How did that person get out into the middle of the woods in the middle of the night? I left a key part of the effing story out. When we got there and we got our little pass, the state trooper or whoever was working there told us that we were the last people going in. So be that as you may, moral of the story, you never know.